In terms of Avatar, I watched the cartoon really recently. It's an American cartoon, but it's very heavily based on both Asian influences and anime influences. In fact, I don't even want to say influence anymore. It pretty much is an Asian fantasy world. They did their research amazingly in the costumes, the architecture, the music, the writing, the food, their clothing styles, their behavior, everything was just completely pan-Asian. And I was very happy. I loved the cartoon for many reasons, that being one of the main ones, because it's very rare to see something that is so heavily Asian-based, and yet the characters were very contemporary and very cute and hip, but the world was very fantasy.
To count up just like physically one degree of separation of all of the people that we have talked into reading the books, you could probably have 100 different people.
Yeah.
We call it a bit. I bit so many people.
Yeah.
I introduced her to the book series and I finished it before, and I gave it to her, and the next day I'm like, did you finish it? Have you got it? Are you done? Come on!
It's like peer pressure.
Yeah.
Total peer pressure.
You have to read this book. You have to read this book.
Yeah. My friend told me about them, and I kind of pushed them aside because I had just finished reading the last Harry Potter book, and she's like, you need to read this. And I thought, ooh, vampires? I don't know if I can do that. And she's like, read it. So it's like peer pressure. I read it, and that day, the next day I went to get the second book, the next day I went to get the third book, and I was like, when's the next book coming out? And then anybody I came across, have you read this? Read it.
Three things happened in 1992. That's when I would determine myself to have become a Star Wars fan. Number one, I collected comic books. I was a huge comic book collector. And in 1992, Dark Horse came out with Star Wars Dark Empire. And I, not being into Star Wars, didn't think much of it, but started hearing people talking about, oh, you should really check out Dark Empire. So I thought, well, hey, what the heck, why not? And I picked it up, and I just thought, this is awesome. It was a serious story that seemed to have actual implications in the Star Wars universe beyond the movie. And at about the same time, I discovered Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire. I totally remember I was in my bunk at camp reading this book, and everybody's like, you should be outside playing. And I was like, no, but I can't put this book down.
It just looked interesting, and I love anime and
Storyline.
Yeah. I saw the commercial. I must see this.
The animation's incredible.
Oh yeah, definitely.
At first it was the animation. It's so high quality, especially compared to all the other crap that Nickelodeon puts out.
I was just happy to watch it, and then I was talking to people, oh my god, I love Avatar so much, blah, blah, blah. But then the casting announcements for the movie were made in December 2008, and it completely changed my focus on how I was planning to enter the Avatar fandom in the first place. I was just going to do the usual fan artist route, but then this just skewed me right off to a whole new and exciting path that I'd never done before. Ironically, I never really had a chance to go into the fandom itself before the controversy came up with the movie. So that's been my fandom experience for Avatar.
I asked so many Twilight fans, did you read Harry Potter before? They're gonna be like, yeah, I'm a hardcore Harry Potter fan too.
Yeah.
It's just like this whole Harry Potter versus Twilight. It's all in the media.
Dude, I like apples and oranges.
Thank you. Give me wizards, give me Van. I'm good.
That's what we're all about. We don't have to pick sides. We're the vampires.
We want to enjoy it all.
The werewolves and the vampires. We want Harry Potter and Twilight.
I essentially got in at the ground level, and I've just kept up with it. I don't know what it would be like to discover Star Wars now and try to play catch-up. It would be almost impossible. Then the third event that happened that same summer that I think just sealed the deal for me, my absolute favorite counselor, he told all of the boys in our dorm, he said, the last night of camp, we're all going to stay up late, and we're going to watch Star Wars together. And he had this huge bed sheet hanging on the wall that he had spray painted the Star Wars logo on. And it's just like one of those magic moments, you know, the timing with the people and the experiences, it just made it so magical to watch that movie at that time. I was hooked. I've been forever hooked, and that was 17 years ago.
When the movie was announced, of course, like everybody else, I was very excited, especially when I heard that M. Night Shyamalan was going to be directing. The casting announcements were made in December, and quite honestly, I think a lot of people reacted in thinking that it was a joke, because it was just so completely not what we were expecting. Two of the main characters, the brother and sister Sokka and Katara, who are very, very much Inuit, Yupik, Polynesian based, ended up being Jackson Rathbone from Twilight, one of the sparkly vampires, and Nicola Peltz, but both, not unfortunately, but both were white, and Inuit people are not white, so it was a little completely throwing off. And Zuko, who's one of the antagonists and part of the evil Fire Nation, was cast as Jesse McCartney. We were all kind of like, okay, this has to be a joke. This is just somebody pulling our leg, you know. As time progressed, it turned out that it wasn't.
We are so grateful to her for putting Forks on the map in such a positive way. It's brought us all together, and it's brought all of you to us. We hope they'll come back again and again.
Another explanation. So part of the character contest, I decided I was going to be Charlie Swan. You know, for obvious reasons. You know, I kind of look like him.
You share a similar bone structure.
That's about it.
Edwards, all of our Edwards.
I think that's the coolest part, is just being in a place with so many other people who love what you love and are fans of what you're a fan of. You know, because like when we were at AccuCon, they actually had a couple actors from Twilight. Cal Lutz was one of them, and we were standing outside the room where people were meeting him, and all these like people would come out in like tears or just in pure joy. So that's pretty much what the conventions are to these people. It's like pure joy, because you're getting to experience this thing that you love.